Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We take your calls every night at 412-575-2600. Tweet at KD Pomp, at the Pony Express. Lots to get into. A lot of hockey still going on in the bubble in Toronto at Edmonton. We saw a great game today. Columbus came back after losing a 5-overtime marathon, and they beat Tampa. Also see Boston, Carolina involved in a tie so far tonight. That game ongoing. Vegas wins in overtime. It's been fun to watch. We saw Phoenix, of all teams, go 8-0 in the NBA bubble, and they knocked San Antonio off of a 22-year consecutive playoff streak. So a lot of stuff going on in sports. Andrew Fillipponi, who is a man for all seasons, joins us up at 93.7 The Fan. And
so now you got my blood boiling, Bob. You got me going already with everything you just said there. You're getting me fired up.
Well, we have a lot to get fired up about. I want to start with the Penguins and just the fact that now they've made changes to their coaching staff. They're also going to try to figure out what to do next and how to keep this core together and add to the core. But with that as the backdrop, we also saw an article today in The Athletic from Josh Yohe and Rob Rossi, a very comprehensive piece that suggested that may see all of a sudden a drop in the cap for them. And normally this is a team that spends up to the cap. They've done so for the last 13 years. You would expect them to do it again, but with everything that's happened in this pandemic, they've lost a lot of revenue, not only at the gate, but especially in playoffs when it comes to gates. They're reporting that they may spend $10 to $12 million below the salary cap. So my question then, Pony, is, well, how do you keep those guys happy and supply them with what they need, especially in a league which has gotten faster and younger?
Yeah, if I'm Sidney Crosby, Bob, and this is brought to my attention today, I don't think I'm happy. And I understand, the Penguins, the players got to put a lot of blame on themselves, and they got to bear a lot of responsibility for how this season went south at the end, losing to such a bad team in Montreal. But I'm of the opinion, Bob, that as long as you have Sidney Crosby and he's not like limping to the finish line, he's not a year away from retirement in a shell of himself, as long as he still looks like he's at his best, I believe the Penguins owe it to him to spend to the cap. And I'm disappointed because, Bob, I don't think that there's an easy solution for this team, right? There's not a turnkey trade or signing that makes them a contender. So how do you do all those things that Jim Rutherford talked about 2 days ago and at the same time spend less money? We've done this before. Question. Doesn't that sound like a pirate? It sounds like a Pirates Bridge year.
Yeah, but I'm not completely sold on the fact that that $70 million figure is going to be the figure they end up with. I wouldn't be surprised if they do spend to it. I think they're going to have to make some trades. It's going to be difficult. We saw the Zucker trade was a good one for the Penguins. It's a guy who has 3 years left. He still can play, and I thought he was one of their better players in the Montreal series. They're going to have to figure out ways to do it, and it's going to be Jim Rutherford's biggest assignment yet. I mean, he's put together back-to-back championship teams, and he's made some shrewd moves, but I think this likely could be his most challenging offseason.
I agree. But if the mandate from ownership, if you believe the report, if the ownership is do more with less, I mean, that is a very difficult ask, even of a Hall of Fame general manager like Jim Rutherford. Make our team way better than it was this year so we don't go out in the first round again. And, oh, by the way, you don't have the resources or as much money to get it done.
This is where you need guys in the organization. It's also one of the pitfalls of trying to win every year. When you trade first-round picks year after year, a lot of high-end potential guys were out there. They had to pass on them because they're trying to win, and it worked. And I give them a lot of credit for doing that. But there is a payback, and this would be it.
Well, let me just bring this up,
Samuel Poulin, by the way, is going to play next year, and I think he could be a good addition to this team.
So do I. But let me just run this by you. If next year they're not going, just again, let's take the article and the report for what it is. If they're not going to go all the way next year, and they have to be cautious and they have to be restrictive with their spending, I would have given Minnesota the first-round pick. Because now you're saying you're not going to do
the 15th.
Yes.
Okay.
Because now what happens if you miss the playoffs this upcoming year because you didn't go all the way in? and now you're in the lottery again. Minnesota gets the pick.
Yeah, but I think that's a defeatist way of looking at it. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think they're looking at it that way. I still think they have enough talent on this team. They will be a playoff team next year. You know, what they do in it afterwards is going to be the ultimate test, because this is 2 years in a row where they floundered. All right, let me switch over real quick to the Pirates, because they have not played in a while. The Cardinals, by the way, are getting back into where they only played 5 games this year. They're going to play a doubleheader on Saturday. But the Pirates got a lot of offense today. It's the Reds, I know, but you know, the bottom line is they showed what I think a lot of people had hoped that some of these guys would be able to do, specifically Gregory Polanco, who we're looking at right here. But is just, you know, as they say in the COVID business, is this a false negative?
Bob, how ridiculous is it that they're only 3 games out of a playoff spot? Did you know that?
Yeah, I know,
with
but
the
I mean,
Brewers having.
I just can't grasp that yet. I just can't.
Yeah. Well, either can I, because they're 4-13. I mean, they buy record by win percentage. They're the worst team in baseball, and your eyes tell you the same thing, that they are an awful baseball team, one that really didn't try very hard this offseason. And really, if you look at the game management, the lineups they put out there, and what they do during the game to try to win, it doesn't seem like they're trying particularly hard to win these games either. So, yeah, I think it was kind of a blind squirrel finds a nut kind of game for them today. And sometimes that happens when you're in a hitter's park like Cincinnati.
We're due for a break. We'll take it right now. We'd like to hear from you at 412-575-2600. Don't be a stranger. Give us a call. We are here 7 nights a week. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on Pittsburgh CW.